You're interested in hunting for bounties. Bounty hunting is one of the most rewarding things you can do on Replit. It helps you expand your portfolio, it helps you improve your programming ability, and most importantly, it helps you earn cycles, which you can then use for anything you want on platform. One of our most prolific bounty hunters is Ray. Ray has experience building a bunch of amazing bounties for people and was very kind to talk to us about his experience.
Hi there, I'm Ray, and I'm one of Replit's prolific bounty hunters. I've been doing all sorts of things for the past 3 years. I do mainly full stack web development, product engineering, and software engineering. Bounties just stuck with me because it's a freelancing job. I'm making a fair bit of money from it, and it's a great way to gain practical skills and use what I've learned over the past 3 years. Bounties opened a new door into what I can do and who I can connect with.
So the first thing to remember is there are two types of bounty hunters: unverified bounty hunters and verified bounty hunters. And the big difference is this: anyone can apply for a bounty, but if you're verified, it means that we've checked you out and endorse you as somebody that can actually achieve a bounty. And that gives you a bit more kudos when you are hunting and applying for bounties. If you don't wish to get verified, you can skip this section entirely. But if you do, this is how you go about it. When you apply to be a verified bounty hunter, you'll be given this form to fill in. And all you need to do is take your time with it and give us some detail. The most important thing is answering questions like this in an honest and detailed way. The way we verify you is by understanding why you want to earn cycles with bounties on Replit and what your skills are. If you leave these blank or give us very short answers, you're unlikely to be verified. But if you're honest and want to tell us exactly why you want to do it and give us examples of work that you've been paid for, then we are much more likely to be able to verify you. Now, of course, if you've never done paid work before and this is your first foray into it, instead of telling us about paid work you've done, tell us about projects you've been a part of. Links to your Replit profile or individual REPLs would be a good idea at this stage. Once you've submitted, we'll take a look at your application and get back to you as soon as we can. Once you are verified, you'll be able to take on bounties and have a verified badge in your profile so that bounty posters will value your submissions a little bit more highly. So how do you locate a bounty? Now, the important thing when you're searching for bounties is that you look for things that you are able to do. They don't have to be things that you've done before, but you need to understand and be able to find a path to completing them. I wonder what Ray's experience with that is.
Something clear-cut, professional, like the person who made the bounty has a good idea of what's required to make it, you know? I don't want to go for a bounty that requires a lot of the person but it's charged very low, you know, because that's underestimating our abilities as bounty hunters. But I also don't want to just accept a really high priced bounty that requires very little, you know, because that seems like a steal, to be honest. So something that's well thought out, someone who comes off as professional and has a great idea of what the field requires.
If you commit to a bounty that is over your head, you can abandon it, but it's not going to help your ability to get a further bounty. So do pick your bounties wisely. To access bounties, all you need to do is click the bounties button on the Replit website, and you'll see a list of bounties. Now, you can go through and read all of those if you want, see if any catch your eye, or you can use the manual search field or the sort. And the sort is really helpful for looking for things like bounties with fewer applicants or bounties with more or less cycles. So you can work up to where you need to be. Once you've selected a bounty you're interested in, you have to fill in an application. Now, it's really important you take your time with these applications and sell yourself. Let's hear from Ray about what should go into a good application.
I usually start by introducing myself to the person, what my experience is. I usually link to a website that I made with a whole list of my skills. It's very long, but it gives the person a good idea of what I can do and what I can't do. And then I go into as much detail as I can about how I would complete the person's bounty, what steps I would take, languages, frameworks, what would be required, whether it costs any money. So Bounties is all in all a great way for me to learn and grow.
So that's pretty clear actually, isn't it? This is about selling your services, and this is about telling the bounty poster not exactly how you're going to do it, but why you should be chosen, what your experience is like, and how you think you'll solve the problem. So as part of this, it's a really good idea to make sure your Replit profile is up to date and contains examples of your best work. Let's stop for a moment and go and visit our Replit profile. Go click on your user icon and click Profile. You'll want to make sure that things like your social icons are up to date. Has it got links to all your professional social media? Have you got links to a portfolio website? Is your pinned REPL something you've published that is meaningful and up to date? And does it show the extent of the skills that you are going to be selling? How about the rest of your Replit profile? Is it full of partial pieces of work, or is it full of published REPLs that you've contributed to the community in some meaningful way? Even if your projects are simply the projects from 100 days of code that you've solved, that's brilliant. But make sure they're published nicely and clearly and have sensible names so that somebody viewing your profile can see the extent and the quality of your coding experience. So what happens next? Well, you may be accepted for the bounty. If you're rejected, don't worry too much about it. Try and have a think about why your application didn't work. And of course, you can view the applications of others. So you may have just been outbid by somebody with a lot more experience. Don't get disheartened. Let's hear from Ray again.
Because I mainly work in JavaScript, and some people don't work in JavaScript, they work in Python, Golang, etc. So they choose someone who has a language or framework that they prefer.
If you do get accepted though, you get an email and a notification in Replit, and you'll see this tab open up on the right hand side where you're able to submit a link to a finished REPL, and you're able to see the contact details and the preferred contact method of the bounty poster. And the very first thing you should do is get in contact with that bounty poster, either through Discord or through email, depending upon what they've set. Reintroduce yourself and set up and start the conversation. Good communication is the secret to success here. Ray, do you have anything to say about this?
So with Magic Prints, me and Jack kind of, once we met together, we kind of wanted to be a professional thing that goes on longer than like a simple bounty, you know? We want this product to become a full-fledged thing. So I kind of took it in the direction of a startup, and I came up with ideas, gave them to Jack. I created a mock-up of how the process would work for creating AI, transferring that to Printful, and then setting that up in the shop. And then I started creating Figma mock-ups and designs of the website. And then I started making the actual website itself after we got the green light. And then somewhere along the way, we started creating like a wait list for people. So if they want to get into the beta, they can. And we started advertising that around Twitter and Replit. So that was our process so far. And we're getting close to actually like releasing the beta to people. We're planning to do that sometime at the end of the year, probably.
Now, if anything goes wrong during this development and you need to pull out for whatever reason, you can abandon the bounty. The bounty will be re-advertised and the bounty poster will be informed about it, and you will not be able to claim the value of the bounty. But we understand some things happen. Time commitments and even overestimating your own skill ability can happen from time to time. Don't feel bad about it. Be professional. When you've completed your bounty, you can submit it. All you need to do is fill in this text box to explain how you've solved the problem and submit a REPL link. Now, once the bounty is accepted, all the rights to that code get transferred to the bounty owner, but that's only when they accept it. If they're not 100% happy with it, they can return it to you with some comments, which this user has done here. But please keep in mind that it should be within the scope of the original post. They shouldn't be asking you to do extra work that wasn't agreed in advance. Once your bounty is accepted, you will immediately receive your cycles into your cycles balance, which is quite exciting. Don't forget, you can cash out over $100. You need to fill in a few forms, but it's a reasonably straightforward process. However, most people tend to enjoy using their earned credits for features on the platform. Things like Ghostwriter, always on boosts, and even private REPLs. Ray, do you have anything to say about this?
I've never actually had to cash out so far because I like using my cycles on Replit itself. But the idea of being able to cash out my money whenever I want to is like really cool. However, I do like using my cycles on boosts and power ups, and being able to tip people is actually really fun. I use Ghostwriter prolifically. Like, the inline Ghostwriter is awesome at taking care of repetitive tasks for me and suggesting new ideas that I didn't actually think of. And using transform code to change up my code and generate code to like come up with ideas in languages that I don't normally use. Like Python is not my main language. However, like through generate code, I'm actually able to come up with lots of code bytes and samples that I wouldn't have thought of and are actually really useful.
What are your top tips for future bounty hunters?
Be clear and be succinct in your applications. Be very open to new experiences, but also don't push yourself to try something that you're not at all comfortable in. And don't try to sell yourself for something that you know you're not going to be able to do. But also feel free to like go outside of your comfort zone and try new things. And when working with bounty posters, be open to their ideas because they tend to take you in directions that you didn't know were possible. I would also say to keep in contact with your bounty poster. Usually after you get accepted, try to shoot them an email or a message on Discord or through email and get a better sense of what they're trying to do, because you're trying to build that relationship with them as well as get the bounty done. Those would be my top 3 tips, I'd say.
Why should someone start hunting for bounties?
Hunting for bounties. Well, you're making money and you're learning new things. So I would say if you're young and you want to get professional experience without having to go to a job, you want your own times, you want to be your own boss, then you should do bounties, basically. It would be the best way for you to get off the ground and into the professional world.
So we've learned all about bounties and how to go about hunting for them. Let's use the opportunity in this tutorial REPL to write your first application. Go and find a bounty that you're interested in applying for, and in this markdown window, type it up. You want to make sure to remember to say yourself, your skills and your previous experience, as well as giving us a quick summary about how you think you'd approach solving the problem that you've been asked to complete. Tell us all about any successes you have. We'd love to hear your stories of successful bounty hunting on Replit. Good luck to you!